August of 2021, we bought a Ford Bronco with the Sasquatch package.
We're not hardcore off-roaders, but we wanted an adventure-ready SUV that didn't rely on the aftermarket. We don't necessarily want to wrench all that much on our vehicle, and we like OEM build quality and testing.
The Sasquatch trim checked all of our boxes.
For those who don't know, the Sasquatch package adds front and rear lockers, gives a lifted suspension that's a little bit more off-road focused, and 35-inch tires. That sounds like everything you'd need for off-road adventure, right? Wrong! The underbody was completely unprotected in our Sasquatch Bronco. In addition to things like the engine and the transfer case, there's also a plastic transmission pan and like a plastic composite gas tank. If plastic were a fourth item in rock, paper, scissors, rock would definitely beat it. There are lots of aftermarket solutions for protecting the underbody of a Bronco, but a lot of them are pretty pricey and for our needs, a little bit overbuilt. So how did we solve it? The Ford Accessory Steel Bash Plate Kit. It includes coverage for the engine, the transfer case, there's that front bash plate, and the fuel tank. Total price is $830 from Ford Accessories, and what's really interesting is it's the exact same price for the two-door bash plate kit, which does not include a fuel skid plate because all two doors include a fuel skid plate. 3 pieces versus 4 pieces, same price. I don't know how the economy works. Now, if that doesn't seem like a particularly clever solution to putting skid plates on a Bronco, there are some clever bits. Item number 1, if you order and you have it shipped to a Ford dealer, shipping is free, and that's not the case with most aftermarket skid plates. Number 2, if you have the Ford Pass app and you have your vehicle serviced or you go get a warranty repair or whatever, over time you just sort of collect those points for not really doing anything abnormal. And what's great is you can use Ford Pass points to buy Ford accessories. In our case, we collected enough points to save $318 on our skid plates. So our skid plate cost $513 plus tax. Before we bought the skid plate kit though, there was a complication, which is that it would not fit with our stock plastic bumper. The solutions are find an aftermarket bumper. A lot of those just look really needlessly aggressive, or they look hardy but they'll actually break. We know from somebody who's a friend of ours who has some experience with an aftermarket Bronco bumper. Or you can go with an OEM solution. There's the modular bumper, but that's pretty pricey and highly desirable among the Bronco community. And then there's the capable bumper. That is a steel bumper, but it's a little less flexible in terms of usage. If you wanted to, let's say, put on a winch, you want the modular bumper, not the capable bumper. We don't care about putting on a winch, so I thought, this undesirable capable bumper might be the solution. I found a used capable bumper in San Antonio, Texas for $250. My parents just happened to be going to San Antonio, Texas the very next day.
And nice enough to haul a used bumper back to you.
That was a really good thing that worked out that way because just shipping the bumper would have cost more than buying the bumper. With the capable bumper installed, I was able to go get the bash plate kit. One complication with that, it comes in a massive box and it is extremely heavy. How massive? They have to put it into your vehicle with a forklift. I knew it wasn't going to fit in our Bronco, so I actually rented a U-Haul. It's only like $20 a day plus mileage. Also knowing that it would be very hard to unload, I immediately drove it to the hangar where I promptly pulled all the parts out individually and then broke down the box. Installation is not that hard. It's one of the reasons why it's cool to go with an OEM solution. All the bolt holes are there. It's a very, very simple process. All you need is some basic tools and a torque wrench, easy peasy.
Could someone who is not built like you lift those pieces out of the boxes themselves?
I mean, it might be a little difficult with the fuel tank skid plate. The skid plate itself is like, I don't know, 80 pounds or something like that?
Dang.
It's very, very thick steel. I was able to install the fuel skid plate myself, but it took a little bit of effort. You have to pull the stock metal straps off, and before you do that, you have to kind of temporarily strap it into place so it doesn't just drop right down. And then the fuel skid plate is the thing that holds the fuel tank in place from then forward. I managed to get the first front 2 bolts in position, lifting it up, and then I was able to get the other bolts in place. It wasn't easy, but it was doable.
I should note at this point that Micah is remarkably tenacious.
Tenacious, dumb, use whatever word you want. But I did get the skid plate installed.
All by yourself.
You're a big boy.
It's very funny. I did mention earlier that the transmission pan is plastic, so I opted to get an extra skid plate just for that. It's made by a company called Mabit or Mabit. It's $180, 1/4 inch thick aluminum, and also a very easy install, and it meshes perfectly with the OEM skid plate kit. The transmission pan sits pretty darn high, and it would take a lot of effort for a rock to get up there, but I did see a story on Bronco 6G where that exact thing happened. Then you're just stranded in the wilderness. So, total investment between skids and bumpers, $943. That is not cheap, but it's much cheaper than any damage we would have incurred dropping the bottom of this thing on a rock, especially that fuel tank. Man, that just seems so ripe for being stranded somewhere. In the Bronco lineup, the Badlands, the Black Diamond, and the Heritage Limited trims all come with the bash plates already installed, and you can add them when you select your build. It doesn't have to be an accessory thing, but you do have to have either the capable or modular front bumper. And the Ford configurator makes it very confusing, so I'm not exactly sure how much it costs. But to my mind, if you're buying a Bronco and you have any off-road intentions, underbody protection is a very wise investment, especially if you're going Sasquatch package. If you can get up over those rocks, you should be able to protect yourself from the rocks. So for our needs, the Ford accessory skid plate kit is a really good solution and just about the cheapest possible way we could protect the underbody of our vehicle. But if you'd like to tell me why I made a terrible mistake in our skid plate selection, please do so in the comments.
And if you'd like to follow along with our Bronco ownership journey or watch our new car reviews that we normally do, consider subscribing.
Family, I think we've done a good job explaining why skid plates are important and how to do so cheaply in a Bronco. May I have a 5 and a 5? And you can get your high five. Bam!